go back to solver mode, since I already had the maturity there as my unknown. The answer is 412.99, and what do you know? It's actually the same as what Bloomberg has, up to 2 digits. But it's not terribly surprising. Even though we're kind of doing this as a shortcut, technically speaking, when you value any set of future cash flows, you need to discount each cash flow by its discount rate. Here we're kind of taking the shortcut. The yield to maturity means exactly the following. If I discount all the future cash flows with the exact same rate, and what would that rate be that gives me the current bond price? But if you actually value these bonds, you basically need to get values from what you want to call the yield curve. The yield curve is a graph. On the horizontal axis, you have time until maturity. On the vertical axis, you have the yield on a zero coupon bond with that maturity. When we're doing swaps and stuff, I'm going to actually show you guys how to kind of construct it, because not everything is available. Let me see. If we go to marketwatch.com, and let's pick rates. Let's do US. Even though it's 10 years, in the page that comes, we have a yield curve. Come on. And let me zoom a little bit. Okay. This is, we know the 1 month rate, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3, 5, 7, 10, and 30. Okay. The blue line is yield curve 1 year ago. Well, it should not be that surprising to you that long-term rates are higher now. 30-year rates are about 60 basis points higher now. On the other hand, they're almost the same on the short end. The yield curve is still what we call inverted. It doesn't always work, but market participants look at the difference between 3-month yield and 30-year yield. 3-month yields are higher than 30-year yields. Let's call that inversion. In the old days, it was viewed as a harbinger for upcoming recession. I don't think that's going to be happening this time. The reason I'm thinking that is, the reason we're in this situation is Fed has been increasing the short-term interest rates. That normally causes, could cause a recession. But the trouble with this inflation was not based on necessarily demand. The inflation we have seen where CPI has gone as high as 9% annual, that was primarily driven by supply chain restrictions. Because of that, I think Fed overreacted, but politically they kind of had to do it. That's why we're kind of in a Goldilocks zone now. the interest rates went from, short-term interest went from 0 to 525 within less than a year and a half. And inflation has been coming down. It came from about 9%. The core is about 2.5 now. Fed's target is typically 2. But we still have growth going on. Okay? You know, big time job creation, big time growth going on. If this was a demand-based inflation, there was inflation because people were spending too much money because of easy money, we would have had a recession by now at these interest rates. At least we would have had very low growth rates. We're not getting that. Because of that, I don't see that as a sign of recession. I don't think we're going to go below 2% growth rates anytime soon. And the rates, maybe that's why Fed is kind of hesitant. Man, there's still growth. I don't want to trigger another bout of inflation. It's not going to happen. Most of those supply chain restrictions that came due to COVID and stuff, they're gone now. But Fed is also a political animal. If they reduce the interest rates too fast and by some off chance it creates inflation, everybody's going to ask for the head of Jerome Powell. Especially there's that US election coming. It's kind of a tough act. If you decrease the interest rates too fast, some people are going to see, oh, he's doing Biden a favor. If he doesn't decrease the interest rate or increase them, well, he's basically sabotaging Biden's economy. And usually within the 12 months before presidential election, Fed doesn't do too much stuff unless they have to. I mean, we've seen that even in 1980. Fed waited until the 1980 elections, and Ronald Reagan got elected. Immediately, they started raising rates, and we had a big-time recession in 81, 82 because of that. And that was a demand-driven inflation. All right. Now, I got about 15 minutes. Let me kind of get something introduced, then we'll do that on Monday. Let me show you something here. I don't know how to say it. Let me tell you something. Now I have a bond. If tomorrow markets started believing that this Fed is not going to do nothing this year, right? I know that's double negative, but I sometimes use it for emphasis. If they're not going to do nothing, they're going to do something, but they're not going to do nothing. And current yield to maturity is 4.13. What if I believe that Fed is not going to cut short-term rates, I probably should not hold these bonds. So I'm going to start selling them. And suppose the yields run up to 450. Look at the price. Currently it's 110.61, right? What do you think is going to happen to price as soon as I hit enter? I'm increasing yield to maturity on a bond. Remember, the yield to maturity is the rate at which you are discounting the cash flow from the bond. All the cash flows from this bond is fixed. Whether yield to maturity is 0 or 20, you're going to get exactly the same amount of money. In this case, $4.75 a year, divided by 2, a little bit less than that. And you'll get $100 30 years from now. So what's going to happen to the price of this bond as soon as I hit enter? Go up or down? I don't want to talk to just to these people, please. I don't like them that much. Okay, you guys tell me. I have something in the future, it's fixed. I'm discounting it today, but now I'm doing it at a higher rate. What's going to happen to the present value? Up or down? It will go down. Because before, it's like I'm going to get $100 in the future. Okay, I liked it a lot. And suddenly, I don't like it a lot. So I'm going to attach less value. That's what high discount rate means. The price of me waiting for it, okay? I don't want to pay that price, so I'm gonna pay less price now. And suddenly the value of that went by about $7. I basically lost roughly 7% of my investment, okay? Let me get things started from scratch.